it seems the United States, certainly attorneys general in several states, are hitting at the carbon credits matter. In fact, they are calling the whole climate change argument and propositions, what are they calling it again? I wrote it, foolishness. That's right. That was on Fox News. We are unable to show the clip from Fox News show yesterday, so that we don't infringe on copyright laws. However, 19 attorneys general from states across the United States have filed lawsuits stating that the carbon credit move is hurting the energy industry, among other industries as well, and they are not prepared to let that happen. What is this development, Cassius? Yeah. Just when we thought, okay, this is wonderful. This carbon credits deal is great for countries like in the region and small island nations, and including the Bahamas. Now, the U.S. is saying no.
So you got to understand. Okay, like I keep saying, this carbon credits issue is being pushed by the Democrats. This is a leftist agenda, the green agenda. The Republicans don't necessarily support this green agenda, because Republicans believe in fossil fuels and so on and so on. They still believe that fossil fuels has some values. The Democrats are saying no, the fossil fuels produce carbon emissions and so on and so on. And so right now, these 19 attorney generals are saying to these banks, say, listen, we are going to sue you because what you're doing is you are giving monies and assistance to people who don't produce carbon, but those who produce carbon are still in fossil fuels. You're penalizing them. And so they're suing these major banks in the U.S. now. You know, I know that the Prime Minister has this on his top agenda. And I'm just going to say to the Prime Minister, if you can get some money, get some money. But don't make this your legacy, because this is going to collapse. This is not sustainable.
What do you mean it's not sustainable? Because anybody would say, you know what, the whole climate change argument is a good one. It's solid. We see what I guess the destruction of the environment has led to. Storms like Dorian and flooding and unprecedented this, that, the next, all acts of Mother Nature that's screaming out because of the damage that's been done to it. You were saying now, as the U.S. is saying, and many of those attorneys general, one who was interviewed on the Fox show yesterday, that this whole climate change movement is foolishness?
You know, the Earth is what 8.2 billion years old. And the Earth has an interesting mechanism of always replenishing itself.
It does.
You know, while we have been producing carbon footprint, and that has been causing a greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect means that there's a film of carbon over the atmosphere that traps heat in, which causes the Earth to warm up. They're saying that the glaciers are melting, all right? How do you explain the Euphrates River drying up? How do you explain the Mississippi River just dried up? How do you explain the Great River in China dried up? And so is that all carbon? I guess climate change? And so, you know, we want to blame all the hurricanes on carbon. Yeah, and I do believe that, you know, human footprint and fingerprint definitely has caused some problems. But I do believe that the Earth has a way of replenishing itself and cleansing itself. What I do believe, though, Shanique, from my heart, is that the Earth does not have a way of cleansing itself from immoral human behavior, the real climate change. And so when you look at our behavior inside the Earth, that is the reason why, in my opinion, and with God's opinion, the reason why the Earth is acting the way it's acting. The River Euphrates has dried up. The Mississippi River has dried up. The Great River in China has dried up. When you read the book of Leviticus 18, it says that, listen, if you do the things that the people in these lands that I'm taking you to do, what's going to happen is the Earth itself is going to vomit you out. Sexual immorality, man laying with man, woman laying with animals, man laying with animals. And he clearly stated out, don't do these things.
Hold on, you're saying these other behaviors are bringing on this result? What are you saying, Cassius? Where have we gone from discussing matters of the environment and carbon emissions and footprint and
but you see, it's all connected. Because if I could get you to think that it's all about emissions and not your behavior, then you can continue doing your behavior. You understand? Human behavior is mostly responsible for the way the Earth is reacting. Our murdering of children, abortion. You think that the Earth is going to sit down and let us kill all of them children without no repercussions? When a man kills another man in the blood of that person cries out from the Earth. The same thing with Cain and Abel. And so our behavior in the earth is so erratic that the earth is acting negatively. And so while this is not economical, this is more spiritual, you got to understand that our fight is not necessarily always flesh and blood too, you know. We also have a spiritual realities that we are dealing with. And Leviticus 18 says that, and if you do these things, the earth will vomit you out. Now, hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, what do you think the earth trying to do?
Certainly sending a message.
It's sending a message.
So then what do you think of this whole climate change argument? And in fact, the region has teamed up together to make this a major fight and focus.
See, he who needs wisdom, let him ask of God for wisdom. I think, though, it's good to be a leader, but it's also good to have wisdom as a leader. You know, while I understand all the global ramifications of economic issues, I also understand spiritual issues as well, too. And I do know that if we as a human being, as a race of people, if our behavior goes contrary to natural law, then the earth itself will respond to us. When you look at what clearly the Bible says in Leviticus 18, it says that do not do these things. If you have sexual relationship with your sister, if you have sexual relationship with your son and daughter, if you have sexual relationship with this one and that one, if a man lay with a man, if you do all these things, it says, if you do these things, the earth itself will vomit you out. Do not do these things. Do not do like the people in which I'm driving them out of the land. Do not do that.
You're trampling on some very, a cross section of toes right there, Cassie.
And so I have to, because I've realized that, like Gavin says, we cannot have the ostrich syndrome, right? And if I know, because every time I come on the show, Shanique, I ask for wisdom. I don't come on this show and I make sure I try to make sure be as methodical as possible to be able to talk to the people. But yes, there is climate change. Yes, we have carbon emissions. But look at how many children we abort. Look at our sexual behavior. Look at our immorality in not only the Bible, in the world. So if you don't think the devil's smart enough to know to create some red herring to say, okay, let's create this issue so that they can keep doing what they're doing, but let them believe that it's this. Because really and truly think about it, the earth has a way of replenishing itself. The earth always replenishes. If we have a nuclear explosion
Mother
today,
Nature always wins.
Mother Nature will replenish itself.
Yep.
But it cannot replenish itself from immoral behaviors of human beings.
Now, what does this all mean? This whole pushback by, I think, red states, Republican states, and that's the view they hold, by the way. But that's saying that, listen, this whole climate change movement and this all of it, it's just almost like stop this pie in the sky thing. It's foolishness. That's a word that was used on the broadcast yesterday. It's foolishness, etc. What does that mean for regional island states? And including the Bahamas, which is leading the narrative in this way. And so
to explain this carbon credits thing, what is happening is the Davis administration is creating legislation what they call the blue economy. In other words, we're going to create legislation to say that we're going to protect the mangroves and the coral reefs, right? Because if you look at the ecology, the mangroves pull carbon out of the atmosphere. Coral reef also is a way of cleansing itself from carbon, right? And so what they're going to say is that because we have X amount of acres of mangroves preserved and X amount of coral reefs reserved, then we could apply for carbon. We could apply for carbon credits. Those carbon credits are then converted into dollars, and they send the money to us. That's what they're trying to do. But that is a democratic push. If the Republicans win in the next week in the House and the Senate, more than likely this will die.
You think they're gonna shelve that immediately if the Republicans regain the House?
More than likely it will die because it is a left-wing push from the Democrats. The United Nations, also the European Union is also pushing it. It is unsustainable. It is unsustainable. So
then what do we do about an Earth that has overheated, about the various strange weather patterns which they all lay at the feet of climate change? What do we do to be responsible and try protect and preserve?
But depends on which lens we're looking through. If you're looking through the lens of the Democrats, then yeah, we need to reduce carbon. But if you're looking at a lens through a sensible person, then we need to curb our behavior. We got to stop aborting children. We got to stop killing in the streets. We got to stop our sexual immorality. Then the earth perhaps may say, they deserve to live inside me. Because humans think that this is a human planet. This is not a human planet. The earth is living itself. And so everything we do affects the earth. Every action is an equal and opposite reaction. So our action causes a reaction from the planet. And so, you know, while I guess it's the first time I'm talking spiritual on the show, but why I think I have to say it, because we as human beings have done such injustice to ourselves. We have strayed so far away from norms and truth. I'll tell you this, Sinead. I have a daughter in Canada. She's in Canada in school. She graduated from high school in Canada. And she said that there were some students in their classroom wanted to identify as cats.
Man, Cassius,
Hold on, listen to me
don't
now.
go in that direction.
She told me this. And the school board was contemplating putting cat litter boxes to the school for these students who identify as cats. Now you believe that? Now, see, sensible people like me, and you can't even we can't even fathom it.
No,
but that's what they're doing.
We're really pushing it.
They're pushing it to the limit. And so whether you want to identify as a man, as a woman, as a dog, as a cat, as a whatever, they're accommodating you. And so we have gone so far from being sensible, the earth itself can't take our foolishness. And so when you see these storms, it ain't got nothing to do with no thing. The earth upset. You just look at any given day, you look at the Weather Channel, and you could see that the earth is upset. But we don't realize that the earth is living and breathing. And if we don't understand that the earth is living and breathing, our reactions cause a reaction from the earth. You can't kill people, abort children, and think that there's no consequences for that. There's a consequences for everything we do. Everything we do, there's a consequences for.
Cassius, I tell you, never short an opinion. I'll tell you that part. And opinions also that vex a number of people. I think you enjoy that as well. Don't write me. I'll tell you that. The opinions expressed are those solely of the guests.
I only say what he say.
Yeah. But I thank you.
I only say what he say.
Yeah.
Whatever the king say, I say.
Yeah.
Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also follow our TikTok account. Thanks.